The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. It's the NeuroDADverse where it is sick, or at least I am. Welcome in to the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodiverse children. If you're new here, well, what we get to do is share our biggest wins and challenges of parenting neurodivergent children, and then we look ahead at what our lives might be like for the next week, and then we reveal some bath time scores for our kids. And with that, let me welcome in Danny. Hi, Danny. How are you?
Hello. Yes. I'm okay, thank you, mate. Sorry to hear you're not feeling 100%.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We do the pod anyway, and it wouldn't be the first time that I was sick, and also have a job where there's lots of teaching and use of my voice. So we'll keep going.
So a lot of me talking then this week, man. No, joking.
Yeah, if you could tell the listeners and viewers what my week in 3 words is, go ahead. No, I'm kidding. You won't. You might get. You might guess. But yeah,
Illness?
do you know? I haven't put it in there because I tried to be about what are the 3 words that kind of sum up how it was to be a parent to my 2 children.
I was actually
And
about to ask you that because I sit there sometimes and I was like, am I doing it about my week or am I doing it about the dadverse? Because obviously they are, yeah, you have work life and you have that life. So I always try to keep it to dadverse, but
yeah,
yeah.
dare I say there are a lot of male voices out there talking about how their week was. So I don't really want to add to that canon.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I always try and think about like maybe how like emotions that we were all feeling together or stuff that we went through together. So without further ado, do you want to play tennis again?
Why not? A little bit of exercise.
Week in 3 words, tennis. Game 2. I'm not gonna keep track of the games, but why don't you serve?
Okay, sir. I will start with family.
Reasoning.
Bonding.
Kindness.
Resilience.
Anxiety.
Ooh, okay.
A lot going on.
Yeah, interesting weeks we've
cool.
had.
Yeah, that sounds like some stuff I'd like to get into. Well, I'll tell you what. To sum up the 3 things that might be in my week is a little bit dull and boring. Just because it's I don't mean dull and boring. I just mean we're just going through a term. And I think previous episodes of the pod that we started in summer break or towards the end of the term was a bit more like, oh, we're going and doing this, we're going and doing that. But no, it's just the things that have happened for us this week is it's been a week of school for both the children. We went to a friend's for lunch, which is why if you listened to last week's, you'll have known we recorded earlier. And that was an unfamiliar house to them. They hadn't been before.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I did a bit of explaining or discussion with both of them separately around and I use air quotes, causes of autism that had come up in a topic of conversation, which if you're listening to this pod, you probably know what I'm talking about. So some of those might be my wins and some of those might be my challenges. What about you? What might come into the mix for you today, pal?
Yeah, so the last week since last recordings involved having friends over for meals and chill out time, some solo parenting, a late out for Amy and I last night. A send fun day by at the local club that Frankie spent a few days over the summer at, and Storm Amy.
Not a
I,
very nice way to refer to your wife.
I had several of my friends sending me screenshots of various news reports going, brace yourself, Storm Amy's coming. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. I forgot to wipe down the kitchen side on Tuesday. Now we've all got to suffer the consequences.
Oh, good. It's
Yeah.
all good fun, as long as she is on board with that fun, which I know she is.
She is, yeah. She found it
Um,
funny as well.
Okay. Well, what would we like to do? Do you want to go challenge or win? How are you feeling?
Shall we go? Do you want to do double challenge, double win, or do you want to go challenge
Yeah,
win?
cool.
Whichever. Two?
Let's do double challenge, then double
Ooh.
win.
Okay. So my challenge this week is Frankie's been at us last week. I said about the 4-week wobble, which is one of the titles for last week's pod. So we recorded in the morning, which was our first morning recording, and I said I wasn't sure how it was going to go because Frankie had been a bit overstimulated the last few days, and we did have a nice time with my friends coming over for lunch. The kids all played well. We did have a little bit of a mini meltdown, if there is such a thing, because you either have a
Yeah, yeah.
meltdown or you don't have a meltdown. But in terms of, he got really emotional and started to get upset, just because I think he was just a bit overstimulated. But although that had happened, we did sort of manage to turn that around, and actually the kids being here and being able to go outside and bounce on the trampoline actually really helped him regulate again and manage to push through. But there was kind of a ropey sort of 5-10 minutes thinking, how's this going to go? Like we
How?
have eaten, but obviously
Yeah.
the idea was we were going to be hanging out for a few hours after that as well. So it was just like, let's just see how it goes. I'll take him in the garden. They came out, they all started bouncing, then he started to smile, then he started to giggle, then he started to get happy again. But yeah, I definitely think
How
that
did it?
something's
Sorry.
stimming him out a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, what behaviors did Frankie exhibit that made you categorize it as a meltdown? Or
So
if this could go, we could have a deregulated Frankie.
yeah, so we needed to change him. He needed a toilet change, and the process usually that has since we've been recording the pod, the process of that could take like half an hour, 40 minutes of come on, let's go, because we don't force him, we don't want to drag him because he'll just get upset, deregulate, and no one really wins then. It just ruins everyone's day. So he's been getting really good at that. We go, shall we go change it? It's normally a couple of minutes, if not instantly. You take him by the hand and he's like, oh, come on in, let's do it. So he was resisting that. And I think it's just because there were people here and he didn't want to miss out, maybe a bit of FOMO. And then while the change was happening, he was basically just starting to get a bit emotional and started to cry. And then I think he just stimmed and slapped the wall, and I think that hurt his hand. And then
Yeah.
and then I think he
Okay.
banged his head when he was trying to trying to barge past Amy in the doorway kind of thing. She was walking out, but he likes trying to get out in front, and I think he just could. And I was just like, it was all would have been avoidable if he probably wasn't a bit overstimulated to start with. And then he was just getting really upset, emotional, kind of just standing in the kitchen looking at us. I was like, all right, babe, we understand. What do you want to do? I said, do you want to go in the garden? Because it wasn't great weather last week, so he wasn't sure if it was going to be an outdoors. Last time we ate outside, but we ate indoors this time. But the kids and me and my mate, we were outside pretty much the whole time after that, and he was fine. So you could just tell in his eyes and the way he was crying
Yeah.
and the noises he was making that it could have progressed into something far worse. It wasn't like it was at the beach a few weeks ago when we went. That was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that was a full on. But he was starting to not lash out. It's not the right. But he's a bit more expressive and explosive with his, because normally he's quite
Yeah.
controlled stimming like this. you know. It was more kind of flappy and irregular, and he was almost throwing himself around a little bit too much, which could have hurt himself more. Um, so yeah, that was a bit uh not upsetting. Well, it is upsetting, but it was just a bit like, oh, we thought that might
Oh, hello.
happen. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Oh,
You
you missed
you
me.
you ducked out a bit.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You said, "I thought," yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a
Uh,
little bit is all I got.
I just think it was just a bit. Maybe it was kind of something that we knew was coming, and I did allude to that last. I was like, I just don't know how today would go, but we didn't feel that it shouldn't go ahead, sort of thing. I was just like, he might just be happy, but I don't know what it is, but I think something's been potentially playing on his mind, and that 4-week wobble thing. I feel like we were definitely in a wobble then, um, and then potentially. Um, it's carried on a little bit this week. We found out it's not a challenge per se, but the school have given us some little bits of information above what we normally get. Usually in his book, we get
Yeah.
told this is what Frankie ate, this is how many times he was changed. Um, can you do X, Y, Z because we're doing this in class next week for task? They told
Yeah,
us
yeah,
that
yeah.
this week, I think it was Wednesday, Frankie got put in timeout, and I think this is the first time he's been in timeout, which
Uh-huh.
to some people might be like, oh, well, like I know of some situations where kids go to school for half a day and they're expelled and excluded and whatever. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think maybe he's been a little bit more rebellious, or I don't know. But yeah, there's something or he's having a bit of a growth spurt or a mental capacity
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
expansion or whatever but yeah, something's obviously he's just
So
acted slightly out of himself, but he's still happy most of the time, pretty much all the time. But I've just noticed that it's just he's
yeah.
starting to get a little bit more like, "No, I'm gonna stand my ground. I want this extra lolly. I want this extra biscuit." And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so he's boundary exploration, I suppose, is the word you use. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably the best the way to put it. So yeah, I
Okay.
don't know if this is a new norm or if this is just a passing phase. I'll report back next
So you
week.
just meet you just like we've always said, just experience it and meet the kind of need, and you just find out, like, it feels just how did you and Ames feel when you got that info about the timeout?
If I'm totally honest, initially, so they gave context of what happened, and
Yeah, yeah.
initially it made me smile. Not that.
Mhm.
So the scenario was in his classroom, they have like the outside, like the gated off garden, I suppose I'd call it.
Yeah.
And then past that that fence is the main school field. They have like I call it like a Teletubby mound. It's like the little mound with like the tunnel
Yeah,
that
yeah,
runs
yeah,
through
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So he does like walking up, standing on top, and not looking everywhere because Frankie likes being up high and getting good vantage points. But on this occasion, he was pushing a trolley or a buggy to the top of that and then just letting it go and just watching it go down the hill because Frankie likes
Mhm.
moving. And they said obviously that could be dangerous to other children. So part of me just thought, as I read that, I was like, I wonder if Frankie's like, you've upset me today, so I'm just gonna let
Yeah.
this, try and run you
Yeah,
over
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
of
which
course.
isn't funny,
Okay,
but
fine.
just knowing how Frankie
No, 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 yeah,
knowing how Frankie works and interacts with people, he
yeah,
either did
yeah.
it for reasons that he just enjoyed the motion of it, or he potentially seen someone else do it, or he was
Yeah,
just like, "I'm just going to do this today." But the reason he went into timeout was because he kept doing it despite being told not to do it.
fine,
And I'm like
fine.
that, and
So
100% that is fine. They said he didn't necessarily agree with their decision at the time, but they
okay,
said it didn't ruin his day. He carried on, and I didn't notice any
okay.
difference at home on that evening.
Good.
But part of me wants to know more info and go, "How did you implement such a thing?"
Mm.
Because that's not something we've done before. Partly because I just didn't think he would potentially understand. Because I think disciplining neurodivergent children is a total different challenge in itself because conventional
Yeah.
parenting sometimes just doesn't apply to them. Not
Yeah, well,
because they're above it, it's the understanding of, yeah,
it's
do
the
you understand why
understanding
you're
and the
sitting on a naughty step?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and um the complicated way in which communication happens. Not always complicated, but challenging way, I guess. Um, but I think that's you're right, it's good because they've been
Set a
able
boundary.
to set a boundary, and they said he came back and had a good day. The thing that I heard you say there was like, "Oh, how did you do that?" Because it's not something we do. And I think it's incredibly, totally fine for parents of neurodivergent children to allow school to do school
Mm.
and home to do home. There is a lot, that might be quite controversial, and a lot of people might be trying to chase that kind of, no, we want to be on the same page as the school. Your home has got that neurodivergent child in it, maybe some siblings. The school has 20 other
Mm.
kids,
It's
maybe
not. It's
30
not
in
an
some
equal
cases.
comparison, is it? It's
So
like apples
you know
and
what I mean?
pears.
And you need to be on the same page about things, but not necessarily about processes, because
Mm.
that's good training. And it took me a long time to do that. Like when we went to interact with Oscar's school, I remember going, okay, so how do you interact with Oscar then? How do you do this? How have you got him to do that? Thinking I could learn those techniques. But of course, you create your own techniques and your own normals.
Mm.
Um,
And they view you as your parents. You're
yeah,
not my teacher. So kids always
yeah,
act
exactly.
differently with other people, don't they? But and yeah, just to clarify on the reason that I was initially kind of had it, like it made me feel like not happy, but I kind of smiled at it and giggled
Yeah,
about it was
yeah.
Frankie is
Well,
he's obviously he's now obviously being different at school, which I see as a positive, that he's trying to explore and expand
yeah.
boundaries.
I'd file it under misunderstanding, not
Mm.
like deliberate or spiteful
Yeah, he's not a spiteful child
or
in my
yeah,
experience
yeah, yeah.
of him. So, but I can
Good.
just imagine he's like, I really want to do this. Like, why are you stopping me
Yeah,
having
yeah, of
fun? And
course.
I'm like,
Yeah,
Frankie,
yeah, of
you
course.
could hurt someone, but obviously he doesn't.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah,
probably
yeah.
just look at it going, but I'm not hurting anyone, because literally there might not be anyone around, and obviously they're trying to teach him the potential danger that it could. Um,
Ah,
so, but yeah,
potential danger,
is
and the
everywhere.
inability
But yeah,
to in the, well, and the inability uh to see it is something that
Mm.
is so 100%. Kind of both my kids, really, but Oscar in particular. Um, yeah, we walking across the road just was obviously a
Yeah.
huge deal.
Mm.
And to this day, Oscar has gone to the shop and back. It's about a 10-minute walk with Mabel twice,
Hmm.
twice on their on that scenario. Trying to build that in. Um,
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because
between now and
they
it's
need to
this so
experience it, but you don't want your child to be run over. So
mm,
it's hard to show them the actual. But yeah,
you know,
Frankie does like walking right on the edge of the pavement sometimes when he does walk, which can be
yeah, yeah,
difficult
yeah.
on some roads. Um, but I
Oh, it's
also,
also like
mm,
in Oscar's case as well. It's like, do you know your local area? Like, how can you go from the age you are now to the age of 18 and potentially having high expectations, and then you have some sort of employment or training or whatever. But yeah, yeah, it's the unseen danger is complicated. But yeah, that's
so
okay.
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't.
that were my challenges. I was like, not to make light of the fact of, but yeah, it was just I feel that he's having some personal, emotional, potential other developmental growth. It's all happening at the same time, and he's just trying to work out how to get through it, I suppose.
Yeah,
Which
processing
I
time.
see as
Oh,
a positive, but
something
also,
different.
yeah, yeah.
Something different has happened at school, and processing time will be important there.
Mm. But yeah,
That's
so that's
okay.
me. What about you, my man?
Nice.
What's been challenging for you?
My biggest challenge was trying to reasonably communicate um the what is the cause, or what causes autism uh conversation, because
Mm.
it was gathering some pace um after what's happened in the States with the research linking it to Tylenol, and then politicians in the UK responding to that. And also then, once that kind of those sound bites are out there,
Yep.
it kind of runs wild on social media, and then it comes into the mouths of teens, because they are disproportionately the people who spend a lot of time on that. All still stereotypes aside, and Laura and I thought they might come they might come into contact with this. And we are not a political podcast, It's not what we're here for, but I think it would be safe to say that that messaging, and that there is a cause, and is damaging and dangerous, and can impact um, people who are autistic confidence, understanding. Um, they also they also might feel a sense of anger and upset because they may particularly believe a very simple answer to what is a complex question, right? So I just thought I need to give them kind of how we feel about it and what is happening. Try to give them the facts. So that was the biggest challenge because I was like, how do you do this without offering your opinion and, to be honest, anger about how this conversation is going? I said we're not a political podcast, but I'm happy to tell you my opinion, but not in detail because that's not what we're about. You don't need to hear that. I think you could probably guess it. Um, so I'll do them in turn. Oscar, conversations like this, I can't decide when that happens. Right? I just now feels like a time when Oscar would be open to a conversation. So it's when I was doing some food for them. They have little pots of uh, strawberries cut in half with the tops cut off,
Mhm.
and cocktail sausages from Tesco. Um, it's that specific, and we're trying very hard to remove away from them. But yeah, there we go. So I said, while I'm making this, they were waiting for it. They don't often do that. It's often here are the bowls that I need you to fill. I'm going back to my room or wherever I'm hanging out. So I said, okay, can I explain something to you? And Oscar said yes. And I said, okay, um, it's about autism. And I just said um, information. I just said, um, some people are talking about, they think they have found a link between um, mothers during pregnancy taking paracetamol, you know the thing we give you when you sometimes have a headache, and it causing autism. And I told him where that quote had come from the United States, and also told him that um, some people were saying that it is untrue. Um, Interestingly, when he heard the mention of the American president, Oscar, um, they ran down the hallway and they burst into a front room. And I thought, what's going to happen here? And they did a lot of stamping and a lot of the F word. But Oscar, they kind of self censor themselves if they know people are listening. So they'll go, oh, deliberately, which is a nice developed tick that they've done. And then they came out from going, I am calm. I am calm. But why? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? And I said, I don't know the answer to that question. Um, some people have the opinion that this is a problem that needs to be fixed. And and I said, I don't think like that. Neither does your mum. Neither does your sister. Everyone who knows you knows that you are who you are, and that's the best thing to be because we're all better for having you in our lives. Uh, um, and that was kind of it for Oscar. They just kind of walked back upstairs. But it was nice. Like I held their attention for enough time, and they were able to go and kind of have a little rage room, which was just involving stamping. I don't know how much of that rage was particularly linked to the individual involved that I mentioned, but I did check in with them all week, and nothing like that had come up.
Oh, so they had not come into any contact with the
No,
information before you, right? Okay,
no,
that's cool.
no.
Okay.
And not at school. I don't think they would have. It's kind of like, why would you bring that up if it's not? With Mabel, the conversation is a little bit easier. So it's like, Mabel, have you seen what the American president has said about autism? She said, what has he done now? Which, and I gave her the facts again. And
As in what he said.
yeah,
Yeah. Right. Okay.
and then
Right.
that it was being talked about by UK politicians. I think it's
Mhm.
always important to kind of strip it away because
Mhm.
American politics is just not our politics. It's complicated, it's intertwined, it's important, but
Mm.
it's not, it's important. The response from the where you live is important, and the conversation. And it's a complicated conversation because people are saying that's factually incorrect, but other people are saying science moves forward and let's find out what things are and stuff like that. So she was quite angry about it, and but then also kind of inquisitive. So we had a bit of a chat around what uh in in my very limited experience and knowledge neurodiversity is, where it comes from. I named a few uh people that she could look at. I remember talking a bit about Temple Grandin, who I think is in one of her like kids' short story books. She has a book of like from when she was a kid of 100 uh, women who changed the world or something like that. So yeah, uh, she and then we kind of got into like she was anxious about like, well, why, and then she was thinking immediately, well, some people at school are going to say this, and I
Mhm.
was what I said, well, just your response, if you want a response, is they're doing some research. There's what we're talking 60s, so there's 60 years of research already out there.
I know.
So why don't you look at that? Like that's the factual way to go about it. So yeah, it was just a challenge because it's a whole conversation. I tried not to like push them down a viewpoint path or indoctrinate in any way. I was just like, here, like this conversation's going on.
Mm.
I don't want it to spike you or
Yeah.
upset
Catch
you.
catch you off guard, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because both of them, I mean, Mabel particularly would jump at anyone. Uh, not like in an aggressive way, but she'd had it out with them
Yeah. Mm.
about how,
She'll challenge them. Yeah.
yeah, everyone uses, um, or like, stop being so autistic or stuff in class, which happens more than you might imagine.
Really?
She says,
Whoa.
yeah. Um, uh,
Stop it.
and
Stop being so autistic. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that type of stuff. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of get in front of that. Happily, not a lot of that went away, but it's just, I think it's my first time in their lives where I'm having to explain that
Mm.
some people might, you might encounter some people who don't really believe it is a thing,
Mm.
or like who don't really, I don't know, acknowledge your existence. I think we've done that about uh uh like oh my goodness. I think my illness is now affecting my memory for words. About gender identity. That's what I'm talking about. We've had that kind of conversation. Like you'll meet these people, but ultimately you're you and you exist. I've never really had to do it for neurodiversity. On the topic of neurodiversity, so it's just hard because they are closer to adulthood than they are
Not.
their childhood. If you count that being
Mm.
primary school age, so it's like you go into this world and it's harsh because, yeah, it's not fun. Not fun. So I sat with me for quite a while because I thought, oh yeah,
Mm. I must admit, I do feel lucky that in my situation where Frankie is age-wise, I didn't have to consider having that
yeah,
particular chat, and if I did, then yeah, would I be able to have done it in the way that you did and tried to be completely neutral and about it? I don't know, but
um,
it is a very interesting times we live in for lots of different
yeah,
reasons, lots of different societal things. To say we're not a political podcast, but sometimes these things do naturally just sort of
yeah.
move
You gotta help,
through your
gotta
circle of
help those.
existence. So you
I
have to
mean,
do.
and anyone listening is probably thinking, oh yeah, I've got to explain this world to my child, uh, which may or may not have the additional lovely wrinkle of being neurodivergent.
Mm.
And,
Yeah,
and also, it
mm.
just got me thinking down the line of, oh, cool, it's like October, so we'll start to see more family around this time of year. I don't think anyone's going to ask Laura if she took a lot of paracetamol when she was pregnant, but
Mm.
there are a lot of conversations that fan out from that, and people,
Yeah.
families will have different conversations. And I don't really think we're going to come up against that type of conversation, but it, you know, how are the kids getting on? Is like a thing they will say. So hey ho. Um, but yeah, like I said, neither of them did have had to come up with that against that. Um, Mabel particularly not in school, which I think is a good thing. And we'll probably come back after this, and maybe I can tell you part of my if I can kick off with a win,
I
which
look forward to it.
which might include talking about schools.
Ooh, well, see you in a
Hmm.
few.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back to the NeuroDADverse, where my throat is getting slightly better and I'm feeling slightly better. That's because I took some paracetamol just before we started and, did what it's supposed to do.
Apparently.
Apparently. Sorry, if you were with us before we just broke, we were talking about that drug and its links to autism, and yeah, delivered it quite straight down the line without making any jokes. I thought I'd make a joke about myself. Okay, it's back into the NeuroDADverse, and we are in the world of wins. You're right if I kick off,
Absolutely.
because the reason I am happy to tell you that Mabel didn't really come into contact with that particular conversation um, about the American president and their announcement about Tylenol, paracetamol, is because you got quite a lot of data to experience that, because we had a positive school attendance week. Uh,
Amazing.
she was at school 4 days out of 5. I'm not going to do a running tally every week, but we would currently place her firmly in the emotional based school avoidance column. Um, she is really struggling to regulate her emotions in a school environment for a number of reasons. But the way you get through that, if you are experiencing this, it's a really nice 3-point plan. Is it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of patience, and it's going to take a lot of teamwork between us and the school. And I am very happy to say that in conversations with the pastoral team, emails, it, there is not a like a hard, you need to be making this number, or I need you in this percentage, and then we'll increase it and increase it, increase it. It's been very, it's been very respectful. It's been very calm. Mabel even stayed after school for some extra English revision of her own accord.
Amazing.
Some of the days weren't full days, but in every interaction, the school has made a judgment and let us know that they think she might have done enough for today. There has not been one um, negative behavioural interaction this week.
Awesome.
There was a thing that was brought to my attention, and when I was in contact with us, when the school was in contact with me, I politely asked questions about the context. One member of staff wasn't particularly aware of the other thing. I said, "Oh, perhaps if you could have the conversation, like maybe that'd be the case." It was really respectful. That was smoothed out and sorted. We are never going in and asking, well, she needs a free ride or a free pass for this, because we're saying you deal with the students that you have, and integrating our kid into that. You're the professionals there. Inform us, we'll do it. And it was I think it was a big step forward.
That's awesome.
Moreover, the conversations with Mabel about it have been like, she's not unreasonable. Um, she has been honest with us that this has been a thing, this has been a thing. I can't do that because this. And we've just been as kind as possible, knowing that. And that's why I put kindness and reasoning in my 3, be because it's a project we all want. She she wants the she wants the education, she wants the qualifications, and she wants to get better at this. Um, I don't think "get better" is the right word, but she wants to meet the challenge of working out how this is. Um, so yeah, it's a real, like, I put anxiety in the 3 words as well, because every day I've come to work, as I go to work before the kids go and Laura goes, I've been, "Oh, I hope she goes, I hope she goes, I hope she goes." But then just the interactions this week and thinking about it and talking to Mabel about it has made me kind of realize it's not actually about the going. It's about her communicating how she is feeling, because there was a time towards the back end of last year where we weren't really sure why and how. So yeah, big positive, big win. Additionally, Oscar was able to say to us that they were feeling a little bit of emotional burnout, and that they had a mental health day while Laura was not at work. So that was useful as well. Um, I working in that similar environment every day, I can see kids who struggle
Mm.
in those environments. So, um, and it's a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot of emotion flying around, and we talked before about how the ability for members of staff to be kind is very, very challenging, because there's so much that state schools are being asked uh, to facilitate for teenagers. Um, so yeah, just a big win, big step forward, um, and just a bit about us as a family framing framing what a win looks like what that criteria is. Um, because you'll get a lot of data about percentages and stuff with these types of attendance things, and actually that's not our data. Our data is emotional and motivation and all those types of things. So yeah, pleased for her. In yeah, I wasn't necessarily thinking that was going to be a win so quickly after last week, and it might be in the challenge column again next week. But
Mm.
we are on a we are on a good journey, and we're communicating a lot about it. And I think this week we haven't been at odds with each other. I mean us, like Laura and I, and against Mabel. Like it's all been on the same page.
That's amazing, mate. No, that's really good to hear,
Yeah, it's good.
especially after let's say your challenge last week.
Yeah.
Um, the trending in the right trajectory. Hopefully, it stays going forward. And I'm assuming then she's saying that she's feeling better because of that as well. So you're obviously feeling
Um,
good about it.
do you know,
Are they feeling
it's
good
really
about it as well?
interesting. It's really interesting. Kind of, I'm not going to dig into psychotherapy and theory, but there's this strain of thought about mental health and therapy, and there's kind of two sides of the argument, right? And one of those sides is, if all you do is think about your own mental health and how you can improve it, if that's your main focus, actually, that's probably not going to help as much, right? Obviously, not doing any therapy, not focusing on your mental health at all is going to be really damaging. But only doing that can be quite damaging. So somewhere in the middle, like spending your time thinking about others, doing things for other people, is something that kind of gives you kind of life and joy. So, I'm not going to be able to. I've paraphrased that really badly, but there's an ongoing conversation in the therapy and mental health community. I understand that it's somewhere in between those two. So I feel like we've talked about other stuff than just how school is going.
Amazing. You gone for
Do you
any
know what I mean?
drives?
Like almost as a deliberate, yeah, deliberate. Like, when it comes into my head, ask her how today was. I'm able to catch that thought and go, how useful was that? Because if it was great, she'll go, all right. And if it sucks, she'll launch into some sort of tirade about how shit it was. Um, so ask something else. What
Yeah.
have you been listening to recently? Like, did you see this? Did you see this football result or whatever? So yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know how she's feeling about it. I think she probably thinks, oh, I go to school more. That's the thing I do now do. So yeah, but yeah. Ultimately, a bit of a big win. What about you, pal?
So my wins this week, I've got a school win and a just like a nice parenting uh win. The school win is Frankie's toilet interactions at school. He's gone and used the toilet twice this week at school, so that's really trending in a really nice positive direction.
Good stuff.
And yeah, and in general, the whole toileting process has been much slicker and smoother of late, apart from, I said, last week, where the wheels started to come off a little bit emotionally.
Yeah.
So that was just a really nice thing that, the school had given us these little nuggets of positive information. So that's good. So I really hope that continues. And then the 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 person I was actually yesterday, me and Frankie went to a send open day, or not open day, a fun day for the
Uh-huh.
charity group that host events for kids locally. It was sort of up in the air a little bit because of Storm Amy. It's hard to do outside inflatables and
Oh,
activities
it's
if
that
you're
type of
having,
vibe. All right.
yeah.
Is this
So
the Send Gym where you go?
no, this is
Okay. Like a
uh
local charity community.
yeah, so
Oh, that's rad.
they've got a premises, and they host one-on-one like respite services and
Oh, amazing.
group services. And Frankie went it during the summer. Frankie went there once a week for the first few weeks, and it really
All
helped
right,
break
cool.
up his week. And it's one of the few places that Frankie go. It's the only place actually that Frankie goes where one of us isn't needed to go along. Like, they are fully structured staff
Oh, wow.
sessions, and yeah, they totally changed my life. I won't lie. When we were early in the diagnosis stage, when Frankie was like 18 months old or whatever, totally changed my life, and I've made a lot of friends now from
Like
going to
absolute
their group sets.
superheroes, right?
Absolutely,
I
and
once
I
bumped
support them
into.
where I can. I film their pantomime in the middle of the
Oh
summer.
yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, yeah, cool.
So yeah,
Just very quick adjacent story. Once Laura and I were once in the kids. We got kids babysitter. We were in a pub because I was playing a show there, and after we played, I said, "Is that?" I named Oscar's teacher, like the reception year one teacher. Oscar was in year three at this time, and so that's the person who was in charge of Oscar's learning for reception year and year one. Went from mumbling words and in nappies in 2 years to like forming sentences
amazing.
and toilet trained, right? Obviously, we had a part in that as well, but like absolute superhero to us, like a celebrity. And Laura was like, "Shut up!" And we looked over, and I was like, "Oh my god, we've got to say hello, get a picture." So like absolute superhero in our lives because of like changing our lives. So yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is. That feeling is like to see those people.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's a lovely
in different
story as well.
contexts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it was me and Frankie were going alone, so that was the sort of solo parenting. So, and this is sort of the bonding resilience family. We've seen he's seen all of his family this week, for on various different days, various different activities. So we went along to see his uncle and his nan beforehand, because they literally live just off the road where the club is. So we went and spent an hour or two with them beforehand. Then I took him over there. Um, he was happy to walk there with me. Because I said we're going to go see Danny, then we're going to go here, and he's like, okay.
When then?
When then? Yep.
Another win for the when then.
I am when then in pretty much all the time now, and I think it
Good.
is starting to sink in. So appreciate it, bud.
No, it's good.
Had
It's
we
good.
not done these podcasts, potentially my communication with Frankie would be a little bit less than what it is. So they moved it mostly from being completely outdoors to mostly indoors.
Okay.
And we managed to go for, it was a 3-hour session. Incredibly good value in terms of the cost that we have to pay. It was like a couple of quid per hour when you add it up, and I'm like, what can you do in this world for like £2 an hour with, children that have challenges with communicating with the world? And we attended for all 3 hours. It did take us 17 minutes to be able to transition to go into the whole area. So, 'cause if it would have been outside, he would have been able to just go straight in, and it would have been outside. They had an outdoor area with electric go-karts. Can I just say, were amazing watching all the kids getting into a pair of go-karts and going round in circles in like this sport red. I called it a red grab, but like the artificial all-purpose
Yay.
Astros. And that was just great to see. And Frankie was watching them because he does like movement and cars and vehicles and trucks. Unfortunately, he wouldn't wear the helmet. I did see if there was a quiet patch
Oh, I
when, do
see.
you want to
Okay.
try it? He wouldn't wear the hat. So it's totally cool. But what he did do, he would push them at the back. He was pushing them, and then I was trying to steer just to show him that how it works. And he found that enjoyable. But it took 70 minutes for us to actually get inside the building, where there were a number of bouncy castles. There was like soft archery, like
7-0 or 1-7.
7-0. So we
Okay.
got there for like 10 to 1, and about 2:15, he just
Yeah,
ran
yeah,
in.
yeah.
So he was tiptoeing in and around, but because there was this outdoor activity and it was held in a special needs school,
Yeah.
the playground was fully open. It's full of cool stuff. It's like climbing frames
Yeah, of
and whatever
course.
else. So it was nice, and I just let him take his time. There's no point in forcing him. I just don't see the point in adding stress to life, and all he's going to do is make him want to rebel. And now he's obviously pushing boundaries at school, potentially with listening to
Yeah,
authority and
listen,
whatever. He's going to do the same with me. So I
you
actually
just
really enjoyed it.
change that criteria, right? I had a good day out. Oh, did you go
Yeah.
to that thing? Yeah, we didn't go inside. Or did you go there
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the person's birthday party? Yeah, yeah, yeah. How was it? It was great. Oh, did you see them for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, why? I stayed outside and we looked at the traffic. It sounds hot, it sounds awful, but like the criteria for what
For a
is
win for
a
us.
for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
wi yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And obviously you just have to work that out and know that that's good. But then it seems like technically then you've done a couple of transitions there, like to the house beforehand, away from
Mhm.
the house beforehand, and then from outside to in and in to out and then home. It's a
Yep,
big
and then,
that's a big day.
we went back to Nan's for dinner
Oh, wow.
because
Okay.
the event is, like, slap bang in the middle of when he would usually eat, the only routine
Yeah,
we
yeah,
really
yeah.
follow is the sort of food routine. Um, but yeah, once he got in, because obviously the staff know him, they're like, "Hi, Frankie, do you wanna come in?" And I'm like, "We'll get there." We all knew that he would get there. Um, and then when he got in, it was the classic, "Do you wanna leave?" But he didn't wanna leave. So, but luckily, because it was a 3-hour event, I can take a third of that time to get him in and happy, and he did engage. He made me come on the uh, bouncy castles with him. They had like the little Zorb football things that you can climb
Yeah, yeah.
inside, and so he just likes pushing them around. They also had like a massive Nerf, like loads of Nerf guns. There was probably
Oh,
1,000 bullets
rad.
on the floor. So they were setting up the paper cups. It was just nice to, just see. And there are people from the community where we do go to the gym we go to most weekends. Some of those parents and their children that are older, they were there. So it was just nice to have, like, it was just a really nice community vibe. And it was helping raising money for their Christmas
Mm.
like gift bag appeal. So
Oh, cool.
even if I was there 10 minutes, I'll just would have paid the money because it's all going, it's helping the community and wherever else. But it was just really nice that after about
Mm.
2 hours of being there, he didn't snack at all. And usually Frankie is a big snacker; it really helps him regulate. He was obviously just really content that he took his shoes and socks off after about half an hour running around in the middle of a very not stormy, but very strong winds, to the point where it was howling, like going through the
Oh,
buildings and
wow.
the trees or whatever. And the reason I put resilience was it wasn't really scaring him. Like normally that sort of noise, it starts
Oh,
to
wow.
interfere with him and deregulate him.
That is
So
big.
he was really enjoying it. And again, I'm just walking around. I'm saying hello to a couple of parents. If I had a conversation, he would try and do a runner to the furthest corner to try and get out my eye line. I'm like, okay, I'll play the game. But yeah, then when we got in there, I was sitting down just to rest my knee a little bit because the bouncing my knee's been playing me up. So that was a bit annoying. And then he just
Okay.
sat down next to me, put my hand on my leg, leant in a little bit. And I'm like, "You all right, babe? You tired? Do you want a drink?" And it was just like a nice little bonding, like,
Nice.
he hasn't said dad to date, but he's very stingy with his kisses and affection towards me. He will always give me cuddles and hugs most days, but it was just kind of a like, "Oh, I'm tired, dad," and that just felt really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And
Well,
then
that is
then we
lovely.
then we made the journey home. Then my mum and dad come and picked us up from his
And
nan's.
he did that all solo?
Yeah, and so we did that
Good.
all solo, and then my mum and dad come and picked us up from his nan's because they were staying over the night because me and Amy then went out. So,
Amazing.
and I don't know if you noticed there, but I am wearing we've
Oh,
got some
yeah.
branded T-shirts. So I was
Nice.
wearing this because it's got our lovely logo on the back, but also it's bright pink. So because I was going to a festival that I thought was being outdoors, not only are our podcasts great, it's a great logo and some great color schemes that we're both fond of.
We are very
It
fond of them.
also really easy for him to find me in a crowd. So I'm walking
Yes,
around, and
rad.
I'm not like walking around handing out leaflet flyers like, "Oh, I do a podcast." If people want to talk about it, it's a nice conversation starter and whatever else. But it's there for him because he knows what I look like. I have a work uniform, which is black
Mm.
with a little yellow logo.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And I'm like, if we now go out on busy outs because we are going to try and do more of those, then a bright pink t-shirt's not a bad thing from a visibility point of view. So yeah, so just want to thank our friends at Quinn's Corner for producing our t-shirts for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was just a really nice, positive day that literally could have lasted 5 seconds. Initially, when we did go, I think the reason it took so long to get in, he walked all the way around, was really, really happy, got to the door where he did do the activities in the summer, and because the hall they had so much happening in the hall, he couldn't see in because there was an inflatable right there, and it's the noises of the the bouncy castles that he doesn't like,
Mm.
but he tolerates once he understands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he just decided
Listen,
to go out more,
but if
so
you did,
it was good.
but still, the whole day is a great day still, even
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
didn't go in, like,
Even if we only did 10 minutes, it would have been, but it was just
100%.
another activity, just us. But it was
No,
just
that's
really nice
nice,
that he
mate.
engaged with the whole thing and to hear the staff members go, yeah, we know that he likes it in here. When we know the challenges you had in the summer trying to get him to come in because it's not in their usual place. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, it was just a really
Sounds
lovely
like there's
day.
some really, really good humans there doing a lot of good support work for
They're
parents.
amazing. Yeah. Amazing
Cool.
people. So tell me about your win. Oh no, you've
Oh,
told me
I've
about
done
your
it.
win.
We've done.
Yeah.
We've
What's our
won.
next win?
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, shall we look ahead to the wins ahead?
Yes.
Nice. And there will be some challenges. This is the point in the podcast where we look into the future. But not like that. Just what is happening that might crop up. In we've got quite a lot
Oh.
going on.
Okay.
Again, it's quite functional. So I have to do a late this week. It is an open evening. So I'll be doing a late, so that will leave Laura with some solo parenting. Laura's also working that day. So that's going to hit and impact the bedtime routine. They so they will need some structure to help them do that, I guess. Mavis has got a lot of kind of medical meetings and stuff in and around her schooling, so that's going to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Oscar's just at school. We got football training. Yeah, so there's a lot of kind of broken up days, which I mean, Mabel going to school late,
Mhm.
and they've also got like an open morning, so they start late. So it's a bit of a broken timetable, but that's okay. Um, yeah, nothing in the calendar. We're both off next weekend, but nothing in the calendar yet, which is nice. There'll be a football game, but we might do a thing. What about you? What's
Awesome.
coming up this week?
So in theory, I've actually got quite a quiet week. So in theory would mean no dramas, but how often have we said that on this podcast? Then
Yeah.
we have a totally different week. So in theory, I'm
Absolutely.
hoping it's a normal school week. We don't have any open days. To my knowledge, there is no different days. Last week we had a sort of fancy dress, a non-uniform wear what you like day.
All right.
Which
Okay.
Frankie actually engaged in and didn't seem to upset him. He
Oh,
we just
good.
put him in a different top. But yeah, so we don't always participate in them just because it can throw him out of the routine. Like he's like, why am I wearing my shoes and my trousers? But anyway,
Yeah.
so in theory, it is a normal school week. I'm not due into the school to do any filming. I was in school last week for one final little bit of filming. I think he
Okay.
saw me in the playground, but obviously he didn't shout to me or anything because he can't do that yet. But I don't think it'll upset him. So there's no reason for him to bump into me at school or anything next week.
Okay.
And I'm out next Saturday, so Frankie will be getting a mum day. So it'll be solo parenting the other way. So
Nice. Okay.
they'll either host something here or potentially go out. So who knows? Tune in next week to find out if my, in
It's
theory,
good.
quite simple week is as simple as it potentially seems.
Yes. Either way, we'll eke out some wins and challenges.
Absolutely.
By the way, I've also been bringing in good energy in asking Oscar how their day was at school. So, Oscar, today at school, did you have good energy? So far, the responses to that have been, "Oh God, not this again." So, I just think it's better than thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle because it's usually thumbs down or thumbs middle. So yeah, that is good news. A quick blast of the bath time. I giving the whole scenario as a kind of joint effort. Last week after we went to see our friends, which was an unfamiliar environment and was a win. I just didn't slate it up during my win chat because school stuff was more of a win for me. But we transitioned from there home. Oscar was in Bath, out of Bath. In relatively independently, they wanted Laura to pop in and do their hair. It wasn't as long as it normally was because we said, oh, we were home late and we got home and it was darker. So we were able to kind of like stage manage it a bit,
Amazing.
which is nice. And then, yeah, we had a really organized organized one. So I'm giving it 9 because there was a contextual, like we had a lot of stuff around, and it's also, it's also a combined contextual 9.
Okay, that's amazing. No, that's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it's good.
Oh, brilliant. That's really
How
good
was
news.
bath time for you guys?
So a little bit of an update on our bath time schedule. So our general routine or plan is Frankie baths every day after school, um,
Okay.
and usually most Sundays. We generally don't do it on Saturdays just to try and help him identify the weekend a little bit more by that sort of routine. But he's been suffering. I think I have been saying he's been really suffering with like dry skin and having
Oh
like
yeah,
heat
you
rashes
mentioned
and whatever
before.
else. So I went and got him some stuff from the chemist, and the chemist actually said having too many baths is actually bad for your skin. I did not know this, and potentially it can dry out your skin because of you're washing off the natural oils that your skin produces.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I heard that.
a combination of um, doing sort of alternate day baths and this new sort of sensitive specialized cream from the chemist seems to be clearing that right up. So we're not having as many baths. I don't know if that's impacting him in a good or a bad way. But the last bath we did just before the pod um, was pretty good. So he went straight in. He did his hair, and he actually engaged in washing his own hair in the sense that I fill up the tub and he takes it off me because he's like, "You're not going to pour that overhead, I am." So he just gets there that, and I go, "No, Frankie, don't
Nice.
do it, don't do it," and he goes, "Shh." So I kind of stage manage him washing his own hair a little bit. So he was actually quite active and wanted to do that, and he's enjoying his bath time. So I'm going to give it an 8. He didn't try to flood the bathroom either, which is nice. We weren't trying to recreate
Great.
Paddington because he does like watching that.
Nice.
So
8. Love it.
I'll
Good
give it an 8.
stuff.
Yeah, because again about the
Um,
context, it was been a bit of a busy weekend or whatever. So it was an 8.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff.
I feel like we both
Good,
won
good,
the
good.
week. Like I feel like I've won my week. It feels like you've
Yeah,
won
I
yours.
mean, I am in a better place about everything than I was last week, which is nice. And yeah, we'll just keep going in the right direction. Cool. Lovely stuff. I'm going to round us off. Again, haven't thought about exactly how I'm going to end it, but if you've enjoyed listening to this sick podcast, because I'm a little bit unwell, not because it's in the mid-90s, I'm trying to say that it's cool. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, that's great. We really hope that you continue to enjoy it. If you want to get in contact or you want to mention anything to us, which we understand lots of you have done, and we are in a process of getting back to you about things. We are at the NeuroDADverse at gmail.com. You can also find us on social medias, which include our Instagram and TikTok. Go ahead and do what Dan always says, which is win the week despite the challenges that come along. And I'm going to start tagging in Dan for our little tagline that I always seem to forget. Go, Dan.
As in our 3 main principles that we would like to remind
You're-
everyone of. Yeah.
You're lots of things, and I can never remember the 3 things.
So you are enough, you're doing great, and you're definitely not alone.
Good. That was smooth. Also, big shout out to my cousin who also had a knit scenario and told me that they were doing it while listening to the pod about Oscar's knits. And they also had it was their second time, and they also had a good experience with that, less screaming. So everyone's winning the week. So well done, cuz.
Amazing. Well, sir.
Right. Yes, lovely stuff. We'll catch up soon. Look after yourself and say hi to that family of yours.
Win the week, and you.
That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.